Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. I'm Brett Chapin. That's Rachel Delmar, guest co-host. And we're talking with three lovely and talented ladies from The Fall to Earth at the Odyssey Theater, odysseytheater.com. We're talking with JoBeth Williams, Deborah Puette, and Ann Noble. And thanks again for joining us, ladies. I know it's not exactly easy to find this place sometimes, so...
We were gabbing, and I lost track of my navigation. That's all that was. We like each other a lot. We were talking and laughing. And
a cast that gets along. Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So what about for you, Anne? What drew you to this particular role? And what are some of the things that you're really enjoying about working on it?
Well, this was a very last-minute thing for me. This was one of those, I got the call on Sunday, I showed up to audition on Monday, I was cast on Tuesday kind of type things.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at the Odyssey before, so I was actually called in by the Odyssey, and I knew nothing about the play. And it was just one of those strange circumstances where everything kind of fell into place. I know Deborah. Deborah and I did a play 2-3 years ago, was it?
Maybe even
3 years ago.
Yeah,
or
4.
At a theater called the Rogue Machine, where Roxanne and Robin and Deborah and myself have all worked. And it was by another Chicago playwright, Brett Neveu, called American Dead. And so we had worked, but we had no scenes together. So it was this, it was like, hi, see you in the dressing room, kind of thing. And I've always wanted to work with Deborah. I know her work very well from Chicago. And that was one of the perks. When I got the email from Sally over at the Odyssey, it said Deborah Puette and JoBeth, and I didn't know JoBeth. But I did know Joel Drake Johnson. I knew the play. I knew the playwright. I didn't know the play, but I knew him, and I really am a fan of his work. I'm a playwright as well, from Chicago as well, and we kind of try to all stick together. But I love his work. And again, I'll just echo what the ladies have already said, is that the characters are incredibly complex. They're very challenging. And I had a great experience. I walked in the audition and things seemed right, and it just seemed like a good fit. And what I have found incredibly challenging is these characters, they appear to be one thing and they're a whole nother thing. So at any given moment, you have to be able to navigate this moment, this moment, this moment, this moment. And for me, I'm sort of an actor that goes from like a core place. I like to just always find like the one thing that'll anchor me, and this process couldn't be like that because we had to know what was going on at every moment. And it was a blast. I've been doing a lot of theater with very large casts where I'm sort of one of many and come on at the end and lots of that, which is wonderful in its own way. But this was quite a challenge. I haven't done a play like this in a long time. And again, I will also echo what JoBeth said. To be in very good hands was a blessing on this one. To know that we were in very good hands with Robin, our director. We were in very good hands with Joel, our playwright. And then these two ladies here. It could have been a real nightmare because the play is so intimate and it can get dark. I don't know what. Oh, that would be hard. But so this has been a blessing just to know that no matter what's happening and what we're discovering when we hit roadblocks, that we know we'd get through them. We know we've got smart people, passionate people, willing to try new stuff. Because we'd hit those places in rehearsal where you're just like, I don't know what this is about. But inevitably, we'd get through it. And so it was great to be in such good hands for a piece like this, because it is a tough piece. It is challenging. It asks a lot of all of us, and that's the great thing. But if we weren't in such good hands, I will say that one more time, it would have been a little tough.
And I think one of the wonderful things about working with actors that you trust is that you continue to find different things every night. You find new stuff, you discover new moments, and you look in the eyes of the person you're working with, and if you're getting something back, and sometimes you don't get something back from every actor. Not all actors work that way, but in this case, working with these two incredible women, I just, I feel like I can go wherever I need to go, and I can go as far as I need to go, and they're there and will play with me wherever I go, and I hope they feel the same, because it's what makes it a joy to do every night.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think you maybe you'll disagree with me, but I kind of doubt you will. All three of these characters, on the surface, I thought I had this in the bag. Rachel is a lot like me in many ways. I mean, down to the fact that I lived a block away from where she lives in the play. Like, so many similarities, having moved from a small town to a big city, having left her family in the small town, all of that. I thought I knew. And then we got into the rehearsal process, and I realized I didn't know a thing. I felt utterly adrift right in the middle of the rehearsal process, where it felt like we'd blown it out of the water, and I was unmoored. And, that's when you need a director like Robin Larson, who is able to allow you to not know and to try different things, and then it all gels quite quickly. But there is that period for me of feeling like, oh, I don't know who she is at all. I was totally mistaken. And it was almost like coming full circle. She's not as different at the end as I thought she was at the beginning of the process, but getting through that was it was a lot of work. It was very exciting.
Yeah, I agree. It was what we saw initially was not what we ended up with. I mean, yes, there's similar things, but it was an amazing process to watch the change and to say, at no point I felt we could say about these characters, oh, you know what, she's the type of person that would do this.
Yeah.
Just didn't apply to this play at all. Didn't apply, which is the good news and the bad news.
Because that allows you a chance to be creative and explore it the way that you want to explore it. And it sounds like your director really gave you the opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah.
And she had a very strong
freedom.
vision for the play.
Definitely. Well, we'll be back in just a second to talk to you a little bit more about The Fall to Earth at the Odyssey Theater, odysseytheater.com. For any information, we're talking with Jo Beth Williams, Deborah Puette, and Ann Noble of The Fall to Earth. And we'll be back on La La Land with Brett and Rachel today on CRN Digital Talk.
This is Larry Minetti, and folks,